everybody, this is Tiny Gamer King coming at you with another draft team. We just finished drafting. This one is for Season 3 of the VDL Shearing Shot Division. We did Season 2. And we ended with a 3-5 record with a differential of -2. So not the greatest. Wasn't definitely not the worst, but I'm hoping to do better on that. So here is the VDL rules. We are doing Series 9, so that's max. We're allowed to max in this division. We had to make sure we had to draft one tier 1 Pokemon, two tier 2s, two tier 3s, two tier 4s, and one tier 5. And we also had to use up to 275 points for the last 3 picks for our team. So that would be a total of 11 Pokemon. We picked third out of 24 teams. So we were the third person to pick. Which at first I thought was like great. Like it's the highest I think I've ever been in a picking. And it was definitely nice. But then I realized at one point there would be like 43 picks before we could get our next pick. So I really had to think about that when I was drafting. So, like I said, there was 24 teams. So how it works is the 24 teams draft all from the same set of Pokemon. And then after everyone was done drafting, we would get divided into 4 divisions with 6 teams in each division. And then how it would work is we would face everyone in our division and then one person from each of the 3 other divisions. And that's how it would decide the season. So it's an 8-week season. And then for the playoffs, it's going to be the top 2 people from each division make playoffs. Then 4 more teams will make playoffs for the wild card. And that would be decided by the next top 4 teams. So they can be from any one of the 4 divisions. So that would mean a total of 6 teams. 10 teams make the playoffs out of the 24. So that is the rules for the draft league. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything. So, next. Like I said, now we were drafting, and I had 3rd pick overall. But I knew once I picked my first Pokemon, there would be 43 more picks before it got to me. So I really had to think of what I wanted. And to tell you the truth, I really didn't know what I wanted to draft this season. And with 23 other teams, you're more likely going to get sniped from whatever Pokemon you want. So I went into this draft not knowing what I wanted, and each round was the same. Like I was just looking at the Pokemon and figuring out my team as we went. My main goal when I do draft is I try to draft Pokemon I've never drafted before, or feel like I didn't use right and I wanted to try them again. So the first Pokemon I picked um, was probably a big surprise for a lot of people for the top third pick to get for this Pokemon to get drafted. But the Pokemon I drafted, no other Pokemon does what this Pokemon does. Um, so I was like, I want to try this Pokemon out and see if I can use it effectively. And I really didn't think if I let it go, it would come back to me. Because I've tried it before, letting this Pokemon go, and it never gets back to me. So, my first pick was a tier 2. And that Pokemon was Comfy. So, Comfy gives me a, a nice healing Pokemon. It has triage. I can use uh, like moves to heal my own Pokemon, and I can also use uh, its moves that considered to be healing on my opponent before they even get it with its ability. So I could use moves like Draining Kiss and Giga Drain on my opponent, and it would be considered a priority move, which I thought was really nice. Um, and then Floral Healing to heal my own Pokemon. And then there's still a couple Pokemon that it works really well that it can proc their weaknesses. And that was going to be what I was hoping was going to come back to me. Um, but before I get that, round 2 comes, and so many redirectors are getting drafted. Um, and I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to get a redirector. And I really wanted a redirector for my team. And to me, a division, redirection is a really big key. It helps you set up your Pokemon so you can uh, max and get like do good damage to your opponent. It gives you the thing that redirect your opponent's Pokemon against you. And I'm not really a fan of Rage Powder. I know it works, but um, it's not what I like the best for my redirector. Just because there is more ways of um, getting around that. But by the time it gets back to me, there's only one follow me user left. I think there's like 7 that there is. I could be wrong, but there's still a decent amount. And the only one that got left for me was Togepi. Um, so I picked up Togepi as my second pick, knowing that in 5 more picks I would be able to get my uh, next Pokemon, and I really didn't think that Pokemon was going to go, but I wasn't 100% sure if I could get Togepi back, especially um, if I waited that much longer. So we got Togepi. So Togepi's not the best redirector, but it's still nice. EVO Light, it can still take a decent amount of damage. Uh, and if it's not max, there's a good chance it can live even some max moves. So we can uh, work around that. Like Focus Sash and guaranteed at least 2 hits. EVA Light, depending on the team, we might even be able to get a couple more. But at least it gives us a redirecting Pokemon, which I really wanted. So Togepi was my tier 4. So at this moment, we went from a tier 2, and then we went all the way down to tier 4. So the next Pokemon I wanted 5 turns later, so we were at pick 51 or so, I think, was the Pokemon I wanted to go with Comfey. It wasn't my main choice, but it was the one I figured I would be able to get. And that's Goodra. So Goodra can hit hard for one. Like it has a special attack of 110 or an attack of 100. So we can go both physical and special. Um, so that's nice. It's like but it's also like a special wall. Like it has 150 for its special defense. So it's gonna take some hits if you're going special against Goodra. The defense isn't as good with 70, but it has a 90 HP. So it is a bulky, bulky dragon. So that is 2 of our 3 fantasy core with a dragon and fairy. So because we got Comfey and Togepi for fairies, but I'm not really thinking too much. Like Togepi's not going to be much. Like Togepi can be offensive somewhat, not really, but it can. It can. We. I'm hoping to get at least 1 kill with Togepi. But we have Comfey, and uh, Comfey again is another pretty good wall, especially for special, with 110 for special defense. Um, but it even has 90 defense. So, my next pick, and it's all the way to be like the 94th pick. So, 94 picks in, I really wanted to finish my fantasy core. So, out of the steals that were left, there wasn't too many that I really liked that much. There were some nice ones, don't get me wrong. But I decided I wanted a Pokemon that I could use with that can be used both offensively and supportive. And this one's not doesn't have the biggest support stuff, but it still can do uh, some supportive uh, some supportive abilities. Like it has helping hand, it has coaching, and that is Cobalion. So Cobalion, in my opinion, was one of the better steel types I could get at this point for how I felt I could use them. Um, and he, to tell you the truth, becomes, which isn't the best, he does become our fastest Mon on the team with 108 speed. And he'll stay the fastest on our team. So we definitely don't have the fastest team in the league, but I'm hoping we can work around that. It's definitely going to be a little hard for us because we don't have some of that uh, possibility with things like Tailwind. Because just so you guys know, I did not draft a Tailwind user, which is probably not the best, but it is what it is. But that is what I did at this moment. Then the next Pokemon I drafted, I wanted to start my Fire Water Grass Core. And I was looking at it, and this Mon I thought it'd be nice to use. And that is Gyarados. So Gyarados was our 99th pick. And that was our tier 2. So that took the first 125 points because we already had 2 tier 2s from our free agents. So figured Gyarados was a good max option. Its stabs are really nice with water and flying. Flying in max is probably one of the best um, stabs you can get because you max it and you get max airstream, which would help us with speed issues that we have. So that's why I picked Gyarados up. And then with Intimidate and Moxie, I thought such a great mod. So I picked Gyarados up. And then the next Pokemon I picked up was Mesprit. So Mesprit gives us a Psychic type, Levitate, which is, in my opinion, a great ability. Like, there's so many Pokemon with ground types, and I always, for some reason, end up with a huge ground weakness when I um, draft. I don't know why, but it's just something that usually happens to me. So I was like, I'm gonna pick up Mesprit. With almost 105 pretty much across the board, like with like other than its speed and its HP, I thought that is just such a great spread of EVs. It also gives us a Trick Room option that's a little bit better than Comfy. So we technically have 2 Trick Room setters. They're both pretty high in the speed for Trick Room. I'm not gonna lie. But it's still there if we want to go that way. So the next Mon I picked up was gonna be, in my opinion, a good Mon for Trick Room. If we did do that, it gives me pretty good physical defense Pokemon since we pretty good with the special defense, um, and we still have a good like Gabalion is a really good physical defense Pokemon as well. And I also thought, well, we have Gyarados. It would be nice to get a Lightning Rod user. And the one I wanted, it got drafted. It got sniped on me. And like I said, there's been throughout this a couple times I've been sniped, but it is what it is, especially with 24 people. So then I was like, it'd be nice to get Rhydon. So Rhydon is tier 4 and we picked Rhydon on the 147th pick. So it gave us a Lightning Rod user to help with like Pokemon like Gyarados, and if we picked up any other flying types, it gives us a good mod, in my opinion, for Trick Room. Like Rock Ground, in my opinion, is such a good typing for in Trick Room, and just because like it gives us, like I said, Stab Ground for if we want to max, and we can up our special defense, which isn't the greatest for Rhydon, or we can use Rock, which is a huge offensive threat in max, in my opinion. Um, so it was, to me, such a good mod to pick up for Trick Room mode, if we decided to do that. And then I decided I wanted to continue my Fire Water Grass Court. And at this point, a lot of the grass mods that I could get and or wanted were getting picked up or already been picked up throughout the rounds. So I decided to pick up Decidueye. So Decidueye gives us a ghost grass, and we got Decidueye at 190th pick. So that's pretty far into like the picks. Like there wasn't much to pick from at this point. And that covered our last tier 3 we could have. Um, I'm pretty sure I used Decidueye once before, but I don't think I really used it. So I was like, I'm gonna try to use it again. And like with its long reach ability, we don't have to worry about like being used at like contacting with the opponents if they have like moves like that damage us from not moves, abilities that damage us from hitting them, or items like Rocky Helmet. We don't have to worry about that because of its long reach. I know it isn't much, but it is something. And then with 107 attack and 100 in special attack, we can go either way again with Decidueye. It gives us a knockoff user, because Decidueye does get knockoff, which is really nice. Because it's always nice to be able to get rid of our opponent's items. And it even gives us like a Shadow Sneak proc into Mesprit if we want to do that, which could be cool. So I thought it'd be cool to pick him up. Then the next Pokemon I picked up was Skuntank. So I've never used Skuntank ever. Um, I've actually seen it being used in a couple other videos of some other people that drafted it. To tell you the truth, I can't really remember who it was at this point. Um, but it worked really well for them. And like when you only have one weakness and that's ground, which is, yes, like I said, a pretty normal attack into that people have, it's still really nice. Um, so I was like, I want to try it out. It doesn't have um, the best stats, but they're not that bad. Um, so I was like, I'm gonna pick up. And for tier 5, I thought that was really good. And that pretty much finishes off like all of our um, tiers we had to draft, and we still were left with some points to finish off our last two picks. So I really had to think of what I wanted, because at this point there was like no fire types, and like there was a couple I wanted to pick up earlier on, but every time they got sniped. So when I realized I wasn't getting a fire type I wanted, I almost decided I'm just not gonna work with fire. This didn't want. I wasn't picking up a fire type, and part of me still thinks I probably should have did that. But I was like, no, I think we can work around this. So, first thing I did to do what I needed to do is I picked up Crawdon. So Crawdon was tier 4, so that was 75 points. That gives us another dark type because we already have Skuntank. But in my what I thought was they don't really share any uh, of the same weaknesses, because the only weakness Skuntank has is ground, and Crawdon doesn't is neutral to ground. So I was like, to me, that was fine. It did give us a second water type, but we will fix that at the end in the grace period. And Crawdon has such good attack. 120 attack is what Crawdon has. And with adaptability, it's like a huge hit. It can get burned, and it's still gonna hit you hard. So I was like, I really want to try Crawdon out. It gives us another mon for a trick room mode. I thought myself with a speed of 55, so it's just at that, in my opinion, um, that trick room mode speed I'm sure there's people that have like an exact amount, but that's what I think. Not much. I don't do trick room that well. So I was like, I'm picking them up. And then for a final pick, I picked the Loon. So the Loon is a tier 5 and gave us 50 and cost us 50 points. So that would at this point leave us with 25 free points just floating between the Gyarados that we had, Crawdon, and now the Loon. So I've never used Laloon, um, but I was like, it could work pretty well. Like, it has Gluttony, um, it has, um, oh my god, Belly Drum. So we could use Togepi and get that set up. And like +6 with an attack of 70 is still going to uh, hit really hard. And with the Gluttony, we can use that to help us get our HP back with like berries like citrus. So I was like, I'm gonna try it. It's normal, so the only thing it's weak to is fighting, which is nice. Yes, it's not gonna hit anything super effective either, but good thing about like stab anyways. Good thing about normals though, they usually have like a really good um, spread with moves. To tell you the truth, I haven't really looked at it, Laloon's moves pool, but I thought it'd be nice to get. So that was our draft. That was the team that I drafted. But like I said, I really wanted to fix the no fire type I had. And that was a huge decision for me to do. Because, like I said, there wasn't like any fire types left. But I decided I was going to get a fire type. So what I did was I traded off Gyarados. So we lost Gyarados. And I kind of had this already in mind when I drafted Crawdon. So we traded Gyarados, which put the points that we had from Gyarados back into a free pool. So we were up to 150 points. So that was made it so we were able to draft another tier 1. So what I picked up was Charizard. I won't lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Charizard. I think it's so overrated Pokemon. Like, it gets put on into like every game. It gets all these different things because it's people's favorite original starter. But it's still a fire type that I really like to try. Like, I've never used. Um, its ability, solar power, isn't the greatest for us because we don't have a sun user, like a sunny day user. At least none that can use it effectively, or guarantee anyways, because we don't have a drought user. Um, but there is lots of mons that we have that we can technically get Sunny Day up if we wanted to. And even Charizard, if we max it, if it's not the Gigantamax version, which um, we could do, depending if we were trying to get certain calcs. But one thing I do like about Charizard is if we get the Gigantamax it, it gives us damage each turn if we use its fire um, G-Max move. So I thought that could be nice to have. It keeps us with flying, which, like I said, is one of the best, um, in my opinion, max moves. With um, with the stab, flying, and gives us a speed, which is nice. It does give us a 4 times weakness to um, rock, and Charizard does not like that at all. But hopefully we can help get around that with support moves on our team. So that ended the draft. We got our 11 Mons, and with the grace period, we were able to change Gyarados into Charizard, and that was what we did. So this is how the team ended up looking. So, like I said, we had the first uh, 8 Mons there, and then our 3 that we used for the points. And then that, in my opinion, made our team pretty rounded out for weaknesses. Really, the only thing really that we have in the reds are um, ice and fairy. Um, which fairy is a little um, that can be a problem sometimes because fairy is a pretty dominant thing. Ice, not as much, but it's still there. Um, but I was still happy with how the type chart turned out. We do have a couple 4 times weakness things with like Charizard 4 times to rock, and then we got Rhydon that's 4 times weak to water and grass. So that is what it is. But I think we can hopefully do something about that. And like I said, if you go here and look at the speeds in that, our highest is 108 and our lowest is 20. But even if you don't count Togepi, our lowest is 40, which is still nice. Um, we are kind of in that mid-range throughout our whole team for like, which isn't the greatest for like going against people, which we'll have to work around. Um, as we do have a few Pokemon up in the highs, in the hundreds. Then we have like a few in the 80s and 70, and then we have just really the 3 that are below the 55 and below. Um, for like the trick room, but I think we're still um, pretty good in my opinion. Um, Definitely have to do some working around. Do I think I have the best team? No, I don't. I know there's plenty of teams better than me, than mine. Do I think we can work with this team? I really do. And I'm hoping we can show uh, that this season. So, my main goal this season, um, don't get me wrong, is to make the playoffs. It really is. I would be ecstatic to make the playoffs. And who knows, like maybe I can win. I've got pretty close in other leagues before. Uh, but it would just be nice to do that. But my main goal, to tell you the truth, is just to beat my season 2 record. If I can beat 3-5, I will be happy. That's my goal anytime I do a second season of a draft league, just to beat the previous one. So that is my goal. If you guys have any comments, please put them down below. Anything you guys think that you think could I could do to help fix my team, put that down below too. Um, who knows? Like there is things I could look into to try to see maybe to change the team up a little bit. Um, but like I said, with 24 people drafting in one pool, you pretty much had to really um, work with what you could pick from. Um, so this is it. Um, we will see you guys in the next um, video. Week 1. I don't know my schedule yet. They did post the first week. I don't remember what it was. Um, but I'm really excited for this draft season. My division, I'm actually extremely happy with the division I got put into. I get to face some couple trainers I've never faced before, and some trainers I've faced. I'm not yeah, trainers, coaches I faced before, and it should be really interesting uh, season. So, see you guys when week 1 hits. Uh, Please hit the like and subscribe. And like I said, any comments down below. I really do answer or try to answer every question, at least acknowledging that I read it. So, see you guys when week 1 hits.